the years, great strides have been made in the quality of education, but the effort to educate all children has often fallen short. Inclusion means all. It means making education for everyone more complete and meaningful. This program introduces the philosophy and rationale of inclusion, that everyone has a right to a quality education, and that all children learn better when they feel included with their peers. Teachers can succeed with inclusion when they work together and have administrative support.
The heart of inclusion is truly including people we've traditionally not included.
This has absolutely nothing to do with charity and pity and disability and all that. This is about rights and justice for all, for each of us. That's the issue. Rights and justice for all.
Marsha Forrest and Jack Pierpoint walk the talk of inclusion, touching the hearts of educators worldwide.
Walking the talk of inclusion means learning to live with one another, and the best place to start is right here.
Their associate, Judith Snow, a widely respected writer and advocate of inclusive education, understands the real human issues of disability, giftedness, and inclusion.
We have to step back from ordinary thinking about education and really think about what do we believe about people.
All individuals have the need to belong. We all want to learn and contribute to society, and each of us has that right as citizens of a democratic nation. Everyone is entitled to a quality education.
To me, inclusion's not a special ed issue. I think that's where a lot of people get hung up on it. It's not. The identified special ed kids are 8 to 10% of our population. And although I want to meet their needs, I have that other 90% out there that I want to meet their needs.
Segregation of students is an outmoded and undemocratic process outlawed years ago. Yet in many instances, segregation still occurs, sometimes denying individuals better learning opportunities.
Stop defending inclusion, make others defend segregation.
I really believe in it. I think children need to be a part of the classroom, and no matter what kind of problems they have, because they are human beings too, and they need to be accepted by society. And if they're started in elementary school, in a regular classroom, they will be a part of society, more accepted, I think.
These high school students at Dennis O'Connor High School in Ajax, Ontario, practice inclusion.
When I think of the word inclusion, I think of the opposite, exclusion, to just associate them as opposites.
When I think of inclusion, I think it's really important to help them know that they're one of us, that they're part of us, so they're included with us.
I want to know what advice you would give to the leaders in the field of education about why it's a good thing to have kids included in particularly a high school. Okay.
It's kind of like, it's not only important for the person themselves, but for the people around them, because it helps them grow more, just to see different people and stuff like that, and it teaches you to be more responsible, I think.
I think when you start excluding people, I think you're limiting your learning, and I think learning is very important, and you can learn a lot from townspeople, and you can also teach them a lot.
When we look at the elementary school, and we look at the secondary schools, and we look at the students, it does not matter whether you're including students because they have special needs, or whether they are of a different color or different nationality. Inclusion means everyone belonging. It means that they're part of their school, they're part of every activity.
My basic belief is one that everybody belongs, therefore we just solve the problems is how do we make that happen. I think that special education for years has spent a lot of time sorting who belongs, who doesn't belong. And that's what the whole process does. You line up the list of deficits so that you can determine which ones are in and which ones are out.
Along with the tragic sorting, devastating labels have been attached to children. The only justifiable label is the correct name of the child.
Drew.
In more and more classrooms, students that have been saddled with labels such as gifted or learning disabled are functioning and learning together. As their labels dissipate, it becomes very difficult to distinguish them from each other.
And I'm really realizing that they're not different except for their disabilities. And working in the classroom, you get to bring out all the kinds of things about the children that make them the same. And I don't think you'd get that if it were not for inclusion. If they were in their special ed rooms, I think you'd lose so much of the person that it would really be sad.
More than just meeting human needs and exercising compassion, inclusion reflects cutting-edge research about how youngsters best learn.
It is in every major journal, research to the hilt, that it is only when kids have the sense that Jack said, when they feel an acceptance, a belonging, and a community in their schools, in their homes, that then they'll start learning.
They're not going to learn to do the things that every other student gets to do if they are segregated with other students who are also unable. And so the way to make them able is to put them with students who are in fact able, and they learn.
And I truly believe as an educator that people don't learn unless they're in an environment that fosters learning, and an environment that fosters learning also fosters loving.
People are nothing until people are in relationship with each other.
Mrs. Euchre's daughter has autism. She observed real improvement when Lizzie was included in the regular classroom.
She's able to pick up on what other kids are doing. She was able to model it, and it really let her see that there were other ways to behave other than what she was modeling in the resource room. Because I saw behaviors coming home that were not Lizzie, you know, and so she began to do more normal behavior.
One of the profound insights of Judith Snow regards the concept of giftedness.
Giftedness looks at who we are in relationship with other people. It says about people that people have all different kinds of potential to be, but that potential means nothing until it's released in a relationship.
The interactions and sharing that can occur with children in school is what makes inclusion rich and rewarding for everyone.
All people have abilities, and what we have to do as, whether they be elementary or secondary school, principals or teachers, is to find out what the student is able to do.
I always thought of myself as a person with a disability. When I look back, I realize that I thought of myself in that way because I'd always lived in a context where I was told that I was disabled.
Marsha and Jack ignored Judith's limitations and looked for her giftedness.
These two people treated me in ways that were for me very, very, very unusual. They would do things like ask me to do things for them. They would invite me to their home, not just once, and not just at Christmas, but you know, on a fairly regular basis. They would introduce me to friends of theirs as a friend. In fact, Marsha would introduce me to somebody and walk away, leaving me there. You know, as if somehow it was just all right for me to be with this person, right?
Every community has children whose gifts have yet to be discovered, but these children still abide in isolation.
The issue is not disability, the issue is isolation.
In our society, people want to fix the disability, a noble effort, but one that only focuses on the individual's shortcomings. What we all need is to be valued for the things we can do and contribute to society.
In an inclusive society, we say, we want to find out what your contribution will be. We'll support you to become the person you say you want to become. You must be accountable for becoming that person. Supposing the limitation is not in me. Okay? Supposing, for example, I wanted to go to the moon. I can't get to the moon by myself, can I?
Nobody can.
No, nobody can get to the moon by themselves. Does that make me space disabled?
As youngsters mature, they will need the ability to interact with, help, and enjoy the giftedness of individuals with special needs. All students in inclusive programs will gain these benefits.
These will be young people who will grow up as adults and be able to accept diversity and differences. And so I see it as being a bigger issue than regular ed and special ed.
By working with the students, it helps you to see what's important in life, and it's a good feeling that you get.
Your presence creates the possibility of meaningful interaction, so your presence is a gift. And that's true everywhere that you go.
In his second grade class at Meadowview Elementary in Woodridge, Illinois, Nick's classmates find every opportunity for him to share his giftedness. The year before, Nick was Star of the Week, and this provided an opportunity for the other students to learn more about him.
His mom brought in a box. They had to bring in a box of what makes him special. And
it was a gift box.
And the kids all read?
They all read gifts of Nicholas that I had put in there from his path that we did. And book lover, ham, different gifts that I felt, the kids could relate to. And so each child went and picked out a gift of Nick and read it. And they even came up with some of their own because we asked them, and it just made my heart sing to see that.
As students learn about the needs and gifts of all children, they become accepting of differences. To classmates, it's no big deal.
They talk about not understanding what the big deal is, not understanding why anybody else thinks there's a problem with having a kid who grunts sometimes and drools sometimes and needs somebody to walk him to the cafeteria because he's blind after all. And it's very pragmatic and very problem-solving oriented.
All youngsters will learn when given opportunities that in the past have been reserved only for the so-called gifted.
And we have to take all the things that we used for so-called gifted and talented kids for all kids. And again, I used to think this was real radical. But read the journals.
Some of the teachers that I had were great. So then you'd be in a class with all the average kids. Everyone was doing great and talking and laughing and whatever. So then I was putting gifted. So what's the big thing? Why are these kids so special that they should be in there's only 11 of us, and so we're in a nice cozy room and we get to talk and we get to go see plays. And so why are we more special? Why do we get to have that? What's so great about us? Nothing.
Being taken out of mainstream schooling is very hard on a kid's ego, and it's very hard to learn how to deal with people who are not like themselves.
And I've been in every special ed situation there is, a pull-out, self-contained, bringing the kids in, mainstreaming them, and just bringing them in for an hour. And that's just devastating to children because it's really, they have no home in the classroom. They're not accepted there. They're not accepted by the children. I think it's both extremes. If you have gifted children, I have gifted children at home, and they were taken out of the regular classroom and put in a special room because they had a special talent. And they were shunned also.
Let's look at all of these marvelous tools that are being used in enrichment programs, and let's use them for everybody.
If somebody else has a different way of learning something, so it takes them a bit longer, well, shouldn't they specially go to plays and get to really see what's going on? I mean, why would you ever want to do that? Why would you want to give, two 14-year-old kids, why would you want to give one of them more of an opportunity than the other? Aren't you just crushing that person who needs a bit more help?
Inclusive classrooms bring together all students of every ability level and learning style, involving them in effective educational activities with other students.
There are 4 gifted and talented, identified as gifted and talented students in the class, And then how?
And then within that last class period that we had, there were 2 special ed students as well as Chapter 1 students who also need extra help.
Inclusion, I think, also includes our talented and gifted. And I have 5 kids that are doing encyclopedia reports and are on multiplication and very, very high level, as well as my ESL kids.
Pull-out programs, although they may have some value, tend to segment the educational program and not look at it in its totality.
I think you're going to really pull a lot more out of these kids than you would if you had them in a self-contained. When you put them into a mainstream classroom, I feel like they're going to reach their potential. They're really going to reach it instead of being held back.
Okay, Rachel, all right for you, okay? Okay.
Our children do not see them as different. They see them as uniquely able to be with them. I don't know how else to explain it. And the caring that goes on to make it happen on the part of the children is something that I wouldn't give up for anything.
Everybody has to realize everybody has basic human dignity. Everybody is, just because they're a human, that they should be given respect. Everybody's like, yes, people do look differently, and people, like, the first thing they realize. But if everybody just realized that we are part of one race, the human race, then everybody will get along pretty well.
Believing it can work, teachers will succeed with inclusion when empowered by their leaders.
It helps when an administration will make a statement like, this is what we believe in for our district, and this is what we plan to do.
We've spent a lot of time this past year working with training not just teachers but our classified staff. You have to focus on your whole family. The instructional aides that work in the classroom, the teachers that teach in the classroom, and then last of all, working to bring along the parents that are sending their children to school each day.
And you need support of the staff, other staff, you need support of administration, and you need support from your special needs department, from the special ed department. You need that support.
The magic ingredient to make inclusion really happen is teachers working in teams.
You cannot do this alone. If you try, you will burn out. What you're doing is setting yourself up for failure.
We offer a lot of resource for the teacher. We offer time release from the classroom in order to collaborate, and we collaborate on a weekly basis as a team to problem solve, and anything that has come up within the classroom to brainstorm and figure out together as a team how that could be solved.
I think the one thing you really need lots of help, lots of aid time, lots of volunteers to help.
The way that the collaboration team works determines whether inclusion works for a particular child or not. If a particular person takes on the expert model and hogs the whole show, it's not working right for the child.
The collaboration between teacher special ed chapter 1 and the regular classroom teachers has moved the teachers to a higher level of performance.
Our facilitator and our support staff is great. I have 2 wonderful aides to help out in the planning, and our collaborative meetings are great.
So the teacher is never isolated. It's never on me to figure out what to do. It's on the team to figure out what to do.
I think the most important part of our teamwork, though, is the planning that we get once a month. We meet for at least a half a day, and we talk about kids that are having specific problems. We plan our curriculum and how we're handling each of the inclusive groups and what we're going to be doing for the month.
Well, our team consists of his teaching assistants, his classroom teacher, mom, principal whenever she can make it, myself, and then speech and language therapist and also occupational therapist.
Inclusion often begins with a special education teacher assigned to assist those youngsters brought into the mainstream classroom.
What we see a lot of the time with the best of intentions is that a lot of people got in, but they got in by having, if they're in schools, an aid velcroed to their hip.
More than just a tag-along helper, the special education teacher or aide becomes a part of the team helping the entire class to succeed.
The kids that we have this year, it's really been an improvement for them. Tom's noticed even his grades with regular kids have gone up. Just having the other person in there, the kids, they don't feel that they're in a special class anymore, and they are really trying hard to, make things up, do the work, and really to understand what's going on.
Oftentimes, it's the special ed student helping the other non-special ed student.
If you teach something, you've really mastered and you really learned it. And so, I mean, it's also helping these other kids, because then I know they're really mastering it too by helping Dennis.
Rather than a special ed teacher being a separate person who was doing his or her own thing with special ed students, that teacher became part of a grade level team, and that mindset made it much easier for us to develop inclusionary practices and for students.
They may just need a little extra help for a short period of time. And because we're able to go in the classroom and work with any child or children, we're able to help those kids who are needing specific skill area work for a short period of time, and then they can move on to whatever else they're working on.
I want you to look at this and see if there are any misspelled words.
Mrs. Walker wanted to bring her hearing-impaired students into Mrs. Lee's 6th grade class, where Mrs. Lint already had her special education students.
By me coming with them, I'm able to make sure that their special needs of vocabulary and understanding throughout discussions and things are clarified, and that they keep up with what's going on in the room. Many times when they are lecturing, I will be orally interpreting for them. And at first it may have distracted some of the other children, but now they just expect me to be up there doing all kinds of waving of the hands and things for them, because they know I'm helping those children. And some of the kids have even gotten where they're beginning to oral interpret to make sure that the two that are the most profound are following what's happening in the room.
Teachers need opportunities in staff development to arm themselves with courage and ideas.
Inclusion doesn't just happen because you put children in a regular classroom with another teacher. There's a great deal of preparation. It's critical that teachers have some staff development and opportunities to work this through.
Industry, business has staff development. They know that they have to have training throughout their program continuously. And in our profession, when we teach teaching, we deny that teachers need that same type of thing.
It is natural for teachers to feel frustration when attempting to help children with special needs.
The messiest thing turns out to be a problem waiting for us to collaborate and figure out how to solve it.
You have resources in your classroom that don't cost any money. They're called other children. And that's the one thing to us that marks the difference between schools that are doing this and schools that aren't.
To tell you the truth, I worried all summer about what I was going to do with Nick and how my class was going to react to Nick. And some of our best ideas come from those kids.
Kids are amazingly creative if we give them the opportunity to work on real stuff, not pretend. They're really neat at that.
They know what he can do. We had a problem with him not covering his mouth when he coughs. So Kim and I were talking, going, what are we going to do? And we would hold our mouth over his hand, or we'd take a tissue and hold it over his hand. And one of the kids says, why don't we cover our mouths whenever Nick coughs? And so whenever he coughed, everybody would cover their mouth. And it seems to work. But the simple ideas that these kids come up with, and it's wonderful.
In preparation for inclusion, other children need to understand what to expect.
We have gone into the classroom and talked to the children about the kind of special need a child may have. We've read books to them and provided opportunities for them to ask questions.
The other kids in the classroom, they're wonderful. They really are. They're nurturing, they're loving. They just help add to the program. They really do.
I'll tell you one thing, he's a good helper.
Is he?
Mm-hmm.
Is he real patient with you if you make a mistake?
Yes.
Well, that's good.
I also give him a few tricks to help him.
Like what?
Like on balloon, it goes balloon.
As teachers may be encouraged to consider inclusion, they should never feel compelled to participate.
Not all our classrooms are inclusive classrooms. Teachers volunteer in the spring if they want to be part of that inclusive program.
It's personal commitment, it's time to invest, and it's a philosophy built around restructuring, which says we can take what we have and utilize it in a different way and maximize the education we can give the youngsters.
On the time, there were...
Classrooms are communities of learners. Inclusion expands that community to involve everyone capable of learning.
It's just very much like adults when we work together in organizations and in our community. We're all talented and gifted in different areas, and some of these kids have wonderful communication skills.
This workshop is about building intentional community. That's what inclusion is about. It's about building an intentional community where everyone is welcome. It isn't about placement. It isn't about disability.
And when I think of inclusion, I think of helping everyone out and making sure that they don't feel any different around everyone else.
Jack Pierpoint ingeniously illustrates the complexities of inclusion with graphics. He shares the three monsters of change that prevent us from including everyone: fear, complacency, and control.
And the first one is a big one: fear. Just run-of-the-mill abject terror. And our attitude to this as a group of citizens has been, oh, don't worry about it. You shouldn't be afraid. Not true. Change is scary stuff. You gotta face fear, straight up, square on. You gotta look it in the eye and shut it down. You just gotta name it and do it anyway. Face the fear and do it anyway. And the amazing thing is when you face fear, real fear, the terror is up to the point you name it. And then it gets a little less because you put boundaries on it. You've sort of named how big it is, and you can move on.
It's like fear, just because it's different, but if you just give it a chance, you can't help but become friends with these guys because like they're so original in their own way. Like Irving, he'll always ask what your name is and your middle name and tell you all the people he knows, and he'll know my brother's friends. I won't even realize it.
Okay, let's sit down on the carpet now.
Having overcome fear, teachers may bring in special needs students and find that it was not as difficult as they thought it would be.
I was really apprehensive about that at first. I didn't know how it was going to work out with the aid. I didn't know what, if I was going to be able to know what to tell her and what to do for the students and stuff, but it has worked out wonderfully. I have a terrific aide. I have an aide probably about 80% of the time. It's very difficult when I don't have an aide in the room.
When this inclusion idea was introduced, I was really afraid for the kids, but I've totally changed my thinking and see now that we're still protecting and helping and nurturing them in the ways they need to be.
And you take that deep breath and say, oh, we licked that one. And then you relax and get complacent. And complacency is a real icy slope. You skid back. So it's real dangerous. And that's a monster. You can't get complacent. If you want to be included, if you want to include people, you got to go the whole way. And that means being in for the long haul. It means constant vigilance. This is not an answer, it's a journey. On the journey, there are good days and bad days, but you keep going. So this is about keeping going.
It takes vigilance to keep fear and complacency in check. The third monster to deal with is control.
Then you got to give up control. And that, for a lot of us, is likely the most terrifying. But the interesting thing is if you give up control, you get it back. You get it back differently, but you get it back.
Control sacrificed is control working alone. Inclusion will only succeed when teachers collaborate and help each other.
If you really want to build community, if you really want to build a place where we can be together, we got to give up control and work as partners.
The partnership extends to the students themselves, all working together to include everyone. In a very natural way, the inclusion extends beyond the perimeter of the schoolyard.
We went to pick up a classmate the other day to spend the day with us, and the classmate had neglected to mention to his mother that Donnie had any disabilities at all. And when the mom's face reacted to it, he said, "Lighten up, Mom. It's okay." And came over and played with him.
These children have friends for the first time. They're invited to birthday parties for the first time. They feel that they really belong in the school.
I've had several parents tell me how wonderful it is that their kids are learning to be patient and understanding with other kids that have differences. And I think that's the most important, is that when I grew up, I never was around kids that had different handicaps than me. So I was never tolerable of those types of things, and I've had to learn that everyone learns at different speeds, everyone has different strengths, different weaknesses, and these kids are very lucky to be put in a classroom where this is just normal for them.
Basically, by having a school that's inclusive and dealing with Andrew and Irving and Cameron, who's not here right now, we all get a different outlook. It's an outlook, like an inclusive outlook. It's not an exclusive outlook.
It's working for the kids, and things that hadn't worked in the past are beginning to work, and the kids are making progress and are leading fuller lives because of the change.
The next videotape in this issue of the Video Journal of Education outlines 3 tools that can help educators and parents find ways to better help students with unique problems.